All right, let's talk about the celebrity couple that basically broke the internet for years, on a daily basis. I'm talking about Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, or as the prophecy foretold, Kimye. Their union wasn't just a marriage, it was a cultural event, a phenomenon. It was like watching the Super Bowl, but the game lasted for 7 years, and the halftime show was just constant drama. Now that the dust has settled, and the divorce papers are signed, sealed, and delivered, we have to ask the big question. Was this a genuine ride-or-die love story for the ages? Or was it the most elaborate, most successful, and most profitable publicity stunt in human history? Seriously, it's a question that deserves a deep dive. Think about it. On one side you have Kim Kardashian, the queen of reality television, a woman who turned a certain tape into a billion-dollar empire. She mastered the art of being famous for being famous. On the other side, you have Kanye West, a musical genius, a fashion mogul, and a man who has never met a thought he didn't want to share with the entire world. Immediately. Putting these two together is like mixing Diet Coke and Mentos. You know it's going to explode. The only question is how big the explosion will be. We're here to investigate, to sift through the evidence, the rumors, and the sheer absurdity of it all. Before we dive into the conspiracy theories, let's get our facts straight. It's important. You can't build a wild theory on a shaky foundation. So, when did this all begin? Believe it or not, Kanye and Kim knew each other for years before they officially became a couple. They first met way back in 2003 or 2004. Kanye was working on a song with Brandy, and Kim was her friend, working as a stylist. Kanye apparently asked a friend, "Who is this Kim Kardashian?" Yes, he even pronounced it wrong. That's how far back this goes. It was a slow burn, a very, very slow burn, simmering for almost a decade while they both dated and married other people. Then came 2012. This is when the rocket really took off. Kim's 72-day marriage to Kris Humphries imploded in spectacular fashion. And who was waiting in the wings? None other than Mr. West. He dropped the song Cold, where he famously rapped, "And I'll admit, I had fell in love with Kim around the same time she had fell in love with him." The tea was piping hot, people. Soon after, they were spotted together everywhere. Courtside at basketball games, walking through New York City. It was the public launch of Project Kimye. Within a year, Kim was pregnant with their first child, Northwest. Yes, Northwest. A name that sounds like a direction on a compass, but became a brand. Now, let's get to the juicy part, the rumors. For every official A-list photographer-approved moment of the Kimye saga, there were a dozen whispers that things weren't as they seemed. The internet, as it does, became a breeding ground for theories. One of the biggest rumors that followed them from day one was that the whole thing was a contract, a business arrangement. People speculated that Kris Jenner, the grandmaster of momagers, orchestrated the entire relationship to elevate the Kardashian brand from reality TV royalty to global fashion and cultural icons. It sounds crazy, right? But in a world where anything can be monetized, is it really that far-fetched? The idea of staged events was another popular theory. Take the proposal. Yes, it was grand and romantic, but it was also filmed for keeping up with the Kardashians. How much of a surprise can it be when you have a full camera crew there to capture your shocked face from 3 different angles? Skeptics pointed to moments like these as proof that their life was a performance. Every vacation looked like a photo shoot. Every family gathering seemed to have perfect lighting. The line between their private life and their public brand was so blurry, it was basically non-existent. It led people to wonder if there were ever moments when the cameras were truly off. Then, there were the controversies, which often felt a little too perfectly timed. Remember when Kanye would go on a Twitter rant or interrupt an awards show? It was chaos for sure. But what happened right after the chaos? Everyone was talking about them. So we've heard the rumors. Now let's look at the facts, the exhibits. Exhibit A, the interviews. For years, Kanye praised Kim. He called her his dream girl. "I loved her from the first day I saw her." He compared them to Romeo and Juliet. He likened her to Marilyn Monroe, a work of art. On the surface, a man deeply in love. He was her hype man, celebrating her beauty, her ambition, her body. He wanted the world to see her his way. On the other side, Kim. Her statements were measured but affectionate. He pushed her to be more creative and to believe in herself. On Letterman, she said he taught her to be more of an individual and to not care what others thought. He opened her eyes to fashion, art, design. She framed their relationship as partnership. He the visionary, she the executor. It sounded balanced and supportive. But then, Exhibit B, the visual evidence. Interviews showed adoration. Appearances sometimes told a different story. Paparazzi caught them looking stern, disconnected, walking apart. You can't judge one snapshot. Nobody smiles all the time. Yet the volume of somber photos built a narrative. Contrast that with perfectly posed, smiling Instagram posts hours later. Which was real? Curated perfection or candid tension? The marriage of Kim Kardashian and Kanye West was more than just a union of two people. It was a collision of two universes: reality television, rap royalty, avant-garde fashion. Before Kanye, the Kardashians were famous, yes, but they were reality show famous. They were Calabasas famous. Their brand was accessible, a little bit messy, built on the idea that you could watch their every move. They were the family next door, with their own camera crew and a multi-million-dollar glam squad. It was relatable in a completely unrelatable way. Then Kanye entered the picture. He brought a different kind of cultural currency. He wasn't just a celebrity, he was an artist, a critically acclaimed Grammy-winning provocateur. He moved in circles that were closed off to the Kardashian clan. Upper echelons of fashion, the serious art world, the intellectual elite. When he started dating Kim, he essentially acted as her passport into this new world. Suddenly, Kim wasn't just on the cover of tabloid magazines, she was on the cover of Vogue. She wasn't just attending store openings, she was a fixture in the front row at Paris Fashion Week. This merger created a new kind of celebrity, a hybrid star. Kanye gave Kim artistic credibility and a high-fashion makeover. In return, Kim gave Kanye unprecedented access to the mainstream public. His music and his fashion line Yeezy were suddenly being promoted to her hundreds of millions of social media followers. It was a perfect symbiotic relationship. He elevated her brand, she amplified his. Together, they created a feedback loop of fame. Every move they made was dissected by TMZ and the New York Times style section. So let's weigh the evidence. Let's put on our legal wigs and make the arguments. On one hand, you have the case for real, genuine love. You can't fake the way Kanye looked at Kim in the early days. It was pure adoration. He saw her as the pinnacle of beauty and femininity. He spent years trying to get her attention. When he finally did, he showered her with affection, loyalty, creative devotion. He truly believed in her, pushing her to launch businesses and pursue her dream of becoming a lawyer. That unwavering support feels real. It feels like love. Furthermore, they built a family together, 4 children. That's a serious commitment. Navigating pregnancy, childbirth, raising young kids, all under the global media microscope. There were moments of genuine tenderness. Kim robbed at gunpoint in Paris, news headlines. Kanye stops his concert mid-song and rushes to be by her side. That's not a PR move. That's the reaction of a husband terrified for his wife's safety. Those moments of crisis often reveal the truth, and in that moment, the truth looked a lot like love. But then, we have to look at the other side of the scale, the argument for this being a business strategy, and man, is it a compelling argument. From a branding perspective, their union was pure genius. It was a merger that created a cultural juggernaut. They didn't just share a life, they shared a target audience. Their combined fame created a vortex of media attention that benefited both of their empires. Whether it was real love or a brilliant marketing scheme, or both, one thing is undeniable. The Kimye union fundamentally changed the rules of modern celebrity. They created a new playbook for fame in the 21st century. Before them, there was a clearer line between A-list movie star, reality TV personality. There was a wall between high fashion, mainstream celebrity culture. Kim and Kanye didn't just blur those lines, they bulldozed them. They proved you could be on a reality show, on the cover of Vogue, at the Met Gala, in the White House. They democratized high culture, or maybe they just commercialized it. Their impact on social media culture is perhaps their most enduring legacy. They mastered the art of the sharent. They turned their relationship into a continuous stream of content. They turned their family life into a continuous stream of content. In the age of Instagram, A celebrity's personal life is their most valuable asset. They wrote the rules for how to monetize your existence. The perfectly staged candid photo, brand integration that looks like a casual post, public declaration of love promoting a product. Millions of influencers now try to emulate that formula. They also redefine the concept of the power couple. In the past, power couples were usually successful in the same field, like two actors, two musicians. Kim and Kanye were different, a cross-industry powerhouse. Media, music, reality, runway, e-commerce, artistry. Their marriage was a brand collaboration on the grandest scale. Combining different forms of cultural capital created something greater than the sum. They weren't just a couple, they were a diversified portfolio of fame. Ultimately, their relationship held up a mirror to our culture. Obsession with fame, love of spectacle, fascination with blurred lines between real and manufactured. They were a product of our times and they shaped our times. For 7 years, they were internet main characters. We were all just scrolling. Like all great epics, the story of Kanye had to have an ending. And just like the rest of their relationship, the end was a public spectacle. The cracks started to show in plain sight. Kanye's controversial presidential run in 2020, the erratic rallies, the deeply personal revelations he shared on Twitter. It was a public unraveling. For years, Kim had been portrayed as the patient, supportive wife, standing by her brilliant but volatile husband. But there's a limit to how much one person can endure, especially when your life is already under a microscope. The divorce, announced in early 2021, felt both shocking and inevitable. The performance was over. The curtain had fallen. So, here we are, at the end of our investigation. We've looked at the facts, we've waded through the rumors, and the question remains, Kanye and Kim, was it real love or the greatest PR stunt of all time? The truth is, it was probably both. It's not a simple binary choice. It was likely a relationship that started with genuine attraction and deep affection, but that real connection was then placed inside the most powerful fame-generating machine ever built. And over time, the machine started to take over. But that's just my take. I've laid out the evidence, but you are the jury. Drop your verdict in the comments below. Argue with your friends. Debate it over dinner. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this, because just like Kanye, we're all in the content game now, aren't we?